Oh, it was beautiful.
It was so much fun.
I mean, it's gorgeous.
It's always like so worth it, you know?
Washington State is perhaps best known for its incredible natural scenery, and the best way to get a closer look at the Pacific Northwest is to go out and experience it yourself. With nearly 700 miles of hiking trails in this state, hiking is a great way to make some memories and fully immerse yourself in the nature and history of the Evergreen State. As a group of Washington State locals with varying experience with the outdoors, we go out and show you some of our favorite family-friendly hiking trails to show you the best parts of hiking, things to know about the trail, and everything you just might be missing out on. This first hiking trail is located in Pack Forest, an experimental forest just outside of Eatonville. The forest is used by the University of Washington School of Environmental and Forest Sciences, but is also open to the public. With an elevation gain of about 800 feet and a 4.5-mile hike round trip, the trail to Mashel Falls is a little difficult for first-time hikers, but doable and absolutely worth it. The first part of the path is wide and open to horseback riding, but the path narrows out and becomes steeper and muddier when nearing the waterfall.
Go!
All right, where are we, guys?
All right, we're in Pack Forest,
Pack Forest.
and we're gonna hike up to the waterfalls.
And I believe they're called Mashel Falls. Is that what it
I
is?
think so.
And yeah, I think we're going to like the lower trail, if that's the one they were talking about, because they went behind.
They went behind, so we can go to the lower trail, and then if we want to play in the water, that's the higher trail.
Gotcha,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. So it just depends on how we're feeling.
I've never been here before. I'm just excited to see it.
Yep. So this first part is all like gravel and logging trail because we used to do a lot of logging up here. I think they still kind of do, but it's
Yeah, I was noticing they had a diagram of like how old the trees are when they're going to be harvested.
yeah.
It's kinda
And
cool.
then the second part will be your normal like. So yeah, I think we met some hippies.
Yes. They seem very hippie, and I love that.
I support them very
I
much.
love it for them.
They're very anti-government. That was fun.
I know. They were like, no
So like,
establishment.
don't go to YouTube. YouTube will get you. YouTube will take your video down, and that's the man.
And I'm like, it surely is.
I'm like, yeah, that's the man. YouTube, it's all our problems.
Reminds me of home because there's so many like hippie kayakers and like windsurfers back home. I'm like, ah, yes, I know you.
What I remember most about this hike was like there were so many paths that went off the path, and I just wanted to go down all of them.
Yeah, I do remember that. That was fun. Two paths diverged in a wood. I don't know the rest of the poem.
I took the one less traveled on.
There we go. Oh, you can hear the water.
It's so loud. Wow.
We're almost there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So this is post hike, and we're gonna have the interview now. I guess like the first question is like, how did you guys like it?
Oh, it was beautiful.
It was so much fun.
Yeah, we had perfect weather. I think like it wasn't too hot until the end when we were all coming back down. That's when the sun peeked through.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a little cloudy when we started,
but I feel like that was much better
Yeah.
since then it wasn't too hot.
Yeah, it was nice. I've done this hike when it's really hot and it's suffering.
Can I ask what your favorite like part of a hike is?
It sort of depends on the point of the hike.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like if there's like a really cool like waterfall and stuff, my favorite part is getting there and sitting there and eating lunch. But if it's just kind of like a nature walk, then my favorite part is when it's completely like woody and all kind of all overgrown and you have to kind of like scramble through the woods.
Yeah. And it kind of just feels like you're alone.
You're alone in the woods, yeah.
What about you?
I think always seeing some sort of wildlife is my favorite part, which like, you know, isn't guaranteed to happen, but like getting to see the little chipmunk and the snakes today, I think was
Yeah, even
probably
just like
my
the
favorite.
insects are really fun.
Yeah, the beetle and the caterpillar slash millipede slash questionable boy. Those were really cool.
Can you tell me about your guys' hiking experience? How often?
Yeah, me and my family, we usually go hiking a couple times a year. It's not anything terribly hard. We're not experienced hikers.
Honestly, same here. Yeah, my family, we don't go hiking as much as we used to. We used to hike probably, you know, a couple of times every month when I was younger. Mostly easy hikes because, you know, small children.
Yeah.
But now that I'm older, we probably go, me and my mom specifically, because the rest of my family doesn't really enjoy hiking as much. We'll go on, like, I would say kind of mostly medium to medium hard hikes.
So from my hiking experience, it's like next to none. Very little. I could probably count the amount of times I've hiked on my hand. Emily is like the reason, probably the only reason I ever went outside as a child.
You're welcome.
I know, yeah, it's a good thing because yeah, my family they're definitely not outdoorsy. And what do you think about what do you think people are missing out on? Why would you want somebody to go out on a hike?
Well, besides the fact that it's really good exercise, it's also just gorgeous, and you can't really like find the smell of like growing things anywhere else. You can't really just like feel that clear, clean air anywhere else. You can't, it's not particularly something you can replicate anywhere else. And like the scenery, the wildlife interactions, the sort of like waterfall views that you get, like we got, it's you can't really get them by not hiking it.
And what do you think, Em? What do you think? Why would you want someone to go on a hike? What do you think they're missing out on?
I think kind of what you said, the like camaraderie of the trail. God, that makes it sound like cowboys.
Camaraderie of the
Trail. But you know, I think that is really incredible, and that's something that you know you don't get when you just go on walks around like you know your neighborhood.
Yeah,
or the
like the
suburbs, you know.
local park.
Everyone's just out there like mowing their lawn or whatever. But here in the woods, you know, you're either alone and you get to, you know, just kind of think whatever dreamy thoughts you're thinking as you go along, or you know, get to say hi to the super excitable pup that goes by.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's just something very human about being in the wilderness, which is really lovely.
Our second hike took us to the Melmont Ghost Town, located just outside of Carbonado and can be found before crossing the bridge. The trail leads to a few ruins of an abandoned coal mining town, and our stopping point was what was left of a school's basement. There are many ruins to find along the way, and the sound of the rushing river is never far.
This is now the only standing structure in the Melmont.
We think that's where the trail
Finding
might
this
be.
trailhead, though, is difficult. We had to carefully go underneath the bridge, and parking is very limited on the other side of the river. The hike is about 6 miles round trip or less, and is an easier hike than Pack Forest due to the low elevation gain, about 100 feet. The most difficult part about this trail is that it is extremely muddy, so tread carefully.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Because we don't have any other choice.
Ooh, check out this mud.
this side. You'll need to cross over.
Okay.
That place.
Isn't the whole rainforest in that area?
Yeah, the whole rainforest in that area is this.
No,
Undergrowth.
well, I mean the Ho rainforest.
Oh.
H-O. That's where they did the Endor scene in Star Wars.
Whoa.
Wow, that's a fun fact. I never even knew that.
Huh.
How do you think that happened?
Well, imagine one of the
Bad
miners went
luck.
crazy one night. Took their.
Well, that looks like a fairly recent car. I mean,
Yeah,
I would
it
say
is.
maybe 60s or 70s at the oldest, judging by like what I
Yeah.
can see of
Yeah.
the hubcaps.
Yeah.
So this tree just grew out of a tree
New
stump.
idea for John Sims.
The plants take over?
No, I put it right there.
Oh, this is my sandwich.
Mhm.
What kind of sandwiches do we all have?
Okay.
I just have peanut butter and jelly.
I have salami and provolone and lettuce and mayo.
All right, so I got mayo, I got black forest ham, provolone, and an egg.
I was too worried about it being hot to make myself a meat sandwich.
That makes sense, yeah.
Mhm.
I was already making eggs, so I was all like, I'm gonna make
Okay.
another one.
Oh, this.
Ooh,
It's a-
very nice.
It's a comfort pack. It's a massage. It's like for massaging and stuff.
Mm.
But it hasn't been used like that ever in my family. It's just been ice packs.
May I have some chip?
Chip.
Chip.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, David, can you tell me about like how you feel about hikes and hiking, like and your hiking experience since we didn't get to ask you yesterday?
Sure. I mean, ever since I started Scouts in 2011, I mean, I've loved hiking. It's been a really big part of my life. It was a monthly event, basically, from the ages of, well, probably 11 to 16. And I've always tried to make a place for it, whether it's just simple, little day trips like this, or whether it's overnight hiking, or even the Boy Scout summer camps. I made a big deal of it because, I mean, it's gorgeous. There's something about this state in the sun or even in the rain that I just love. And I found it boring to do alone because I've realized another great part of experiencing is experiencing it with other people.
Mm-hmm.
These two things combined, I'm huge towards conservation. It's important that we protect these areas because they've had such an impact. I mean, the sheer beauty of this place, and even though it can be, a little bit muddy and not perfect, I mean, it's gorgeous. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Aw.
This is one of my favorite activities, probably in the world.
Great answer. All right. So can you tell us about like what you know about this hike and your connection to it, I suppose?
Sorry, tasty chips. I'll say that this is one of the first hikes I ever did. I really enjoyed just coming down here and hearing a river for the first time that up close. It was one of the first times being that up close to a really raging, really fast river with white water in it. And that was incredible. And also just seeing, some of the ruins around here. I mean, we've got the ruins of a school right there that I still remember.
Oh, this was a school?
Yeah, that building right there actually was a school. I'm not entirely sure about the purpose of it. I think it was to help educate miners as veins in this area kind of dropped out.
Or maybe for minors' children.
It could be that too. But that was a big problem. This is the reason why they're called ghost towns now. All of the big mining towns that actually turned into something, the veins didn't run out, or at least when they did, there was other industry to prop it up. There's a whole map of these places on Western Washington. But I'm getting distracted. The main thing is my connection to it is that it's one of my first hikes that I ever did in my life. And it was with a group of people I didn't really know and didn't really understand. And it took me on a journey that has been so healthy and so helpful to me.
Aw.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us like why Washington though? What's nice about coming out here in Washington, the Pacific Northwest?
Well, I can I have long, complex answers for that, where I can talk about the Olympic National Rainforest. I can talk about the Badlands. I can talk about anything. This country, well, yeah, we've got these series of the mountains that we have. The Cascades are these beautiful creatures that allow for an incredible amount of ice to be made. And back when all of Washington, well, a lot of Washington, the eastern part at the very least, was covered by a huge glacier, it left some really interesting looking channels when it dried up. That's why eastern Washington is really flat and very, very dry. A lot of that flatness is just due to due to the way that glacier melted, the residue, I guess, it left behind. But why Washington in particular? I mean, there's so much variety here. You have on one coast incredibly rainy conditions, and if you go incredibly far west to the Olympic Mountains, you end up in a literal rainforest. Just a rainforest. The only rainforest in North America.
Is it really?
Yeah. I mean,
Whoa.
where else would one be? You know, Canada can't have any. It's too cold. But we've got an actual rainforest in our backyard if you drive like 3 hours west. For any of us, anyone watching this could. We've got incredibly dry ancient lakes over in eastern Washington. We have mountains with incredibly gorgeous views that look on these evergreen trees that seem to go on forever. We have lakes. So many lakes, so many rivers. If you're into water sports or kayaking, the Puget Sound is cold, but it's fantastic. This is a state that has so much nature. Nature to the point that rivers, I think it's over 40% at least of the electricity in this state is generated through hydroelectric electricity, which is a great statistic. And a lot of that's from the Columbia, in famous projects like the Grand Coulee Dam. We have so much nature in this state, so much beautiful biodiversity, and it's a dry climate. It's got pretty fair weather. You can explore it. And we've been doing that for a long time. So yeah, get out here. This is one of the main reasons why I'm staying here is just because I love everything here so much. So I really enjoy Washington State, and I wish that people would come out here, see the nature a little bit more. When people talk about conservation and leaving it behind for the people who come next, it's important to get a first-hand account. Figure out what's out here. Take a look. And, make your decisions about how you want the future to go. So that's Washington for me. I don't want to leave it. This is home just because I've spent way too long in all the nature, all the trails, spent too long in a kayak going through its rivers. It's home. So get out here, you do it.
It's a threat.
So poetic. Ending it with a threat.